Hey guys, it's Mr. Happy, and today I'm going to be doing a video about something I, for the past week, have been dreading doing, but I suppose it had to happen sooner or later, so let's talk about Atmas. Now, I wasn't going to do this video for a few reasons. One is because the quest is fairly straightforward. You know, there's not really any secrets or tricks. There's a few little things people maybe don't know about it, some things that are unconfirmed rumors going around, and I'll go over all those, and another thing is that since it's not so much of a guide as it is my opinion on the whole thing, I just want to say one thing. I'm very, very biased towards these kind of things. I played Final Fantasy XI, and in that game, I didn't mind a super long grind. Even if it was completely monotonous, if it was very tedious, I didn't mind it. So coming into this game, how could I have a different mentality? And the fact is, I don't. I didn't mind the Atma grind all too much. I did get all 12 of mine, which again, we'll get into in a second. And it didn't bother me all too much, so I didn't want to make a video about my opinions because, quite frankly, very few people are going to see eye to eye with me about this. But they are my opinions for that matter, and people are subject to their own opinions. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have some negative opinions about this thing. Even if I say I don't mind a grind, doesn't mean that I'm praying for one. At least not one in such a manner. But anyway, let's talk about the Atmas real quick. So, background story. For those of you who don't know, Atmas are upgraded relic weapons. Relic weapons were introduced into A Realm Reborn before, well, they were introduced into Final Fantasy XIV even before A Realm Reborn. And in A Realm Reborn, they're pretty much a stepping stone for getting into endgame rating, and they're just a generally reliable weapon to have. They have moderately good stats, you can upgrade them, and they'll just always be there when you need them. That is until this patch. So, in 2.2, the relic weapons were given a further upgrade, I should say. Now, in 2.0, you could upgrade them from a relic to a relic zenith. It would increase its item level, therefore it would increase its weapon damage, it would increase the stats on it, and would just generally make it a better weapon. Still not the best weapon, but a better weapon. Now, we can upgrade those relic zeniths even further with relic atmas. Now, an atma weapon is, you take a zenith weapon, and you go activate this quest from Geralt over in Fallguard Float. If you go a little bit northeast of there, you'll run into him. If you've done the relic quest, you should remember who he is anyway. Now, you go there, and you start the quest. Eventually, you'll end up at a point where you'll meet an NPC that asks you for 12 Atmas. When he gives you the quest, oddly enough, it goes into the completed quest. I don't know why that it went there, into the completed quest section. And in the text, it tells you, okay, so you need an Atma from each one of these zones. There's a few typos in there. There's Central Thanolin twice. Atma of the Maiden does not come from Central Thanolin. The other one does. I think Atma of the Scales is the one that comes from Central Thanolin. And the Atma of the Maiden comes from the Central Shroud. Also, it says Central Lenosha, whereas the zone is actually called Middle Lenosha. So if you were wondering about those, just be prepared. Don't spend all your time in Central Thanolin like that. And if you're looking for Central Lenosha, just go to Middle Lenosha. But anyway, you go to these zones and you complete fates. Fates are full active time events, for those of you who don't know. Basically comparable to Guild Wars 2 dynamic event system. There's many other games that this comes from, but that's just the one that comes to mind most easily. Now, you do these fates, and there's a few rumors going around. Here's a few facts. You can get an Atma on bronze, silver, gold. I know multiple people who have gotten them. I've never seen it, but I know multiple people who have gotten it. And despite this being so close to April Fool's, it was before April Fool's that they were telling me about it. Additionally, you do have to have your Relic Zenith equipped. You don't have to necessarily have the one you're working on currently. Any Relic Zenith. For example, if you have two Relic Zeniths, you have a Warrior Relic Zenith, and you have a Bard Relic Zenith, you could farm Atmas on your Bard Relic Zenith even though you started the quest with your Warrior. As long as you have a Relic Zenith equipped, the Atmas can drop. I also don't know if bronze, silver, or gold affects the drop rate, but that barely matters at all. Everything else, I've heard like random things like mythology gear gives you increased drop chance. Those are the only two things you absolutely need to know. Is that you can get them scoring any rating, and you absolutely need to have a Relic Zenith equipped. I think you can glamour it away. I had a friend who glamored his Relic Zenith to something else, and he was still getting them. So don't worry, there's no like bug with the glamour system preventing you from getting them, in case you were worrying about that. Now, that's it. You just go and do those fates in all the zones it lists, and pray that the RNG gods give you these 12 drops as quickly as possible. The drop rates are absurdly low, so even if you are very, very, dedicated to it, it could still take a long time. Now, people have wanted my opinion on this. It's been all over Twitter. It's been under almost every single one of the videos I've posted in the last week. So my opinion on it, it's not that bad. It's not that bad only because I know how to deal with these kind of grinds. People who are unfamiliar with the MMO, with the MMO world, people who have played more recent MMOs that don't have these super long, tedious grinds, they will absolutely not be okay with this, and that is okay, because I do not expect the average normal person who plays an MMO in this day and age to be okay with these kind of grinds, because they are very long and very tedious. I know what to do. I get on Mumble, I talk to friends, I text a few people in between fates. I'll hop on, Netflix or Amazon Prime, watch a movie, maybe hop on YouTube and watch some funny clips, listen to some music. I distract myself from what I'm actually doing. Basically, I'm trying to get my brain away from playing the game while playing the game. So it's almost as if I'm not actually enjoying it. It just comes down to I don't mind it because I know what to do. Now, having said that, it is very, very, it's not a very good grind. Now, there's a few reasons for that. One is that it's requiring you to do fates. Now, these fates are not difficult per se, which difficulty is just one aspect of it. It's not very hard to do this. It just takes a very long time. And since you have absolutely no way of guaranteeing an Atma drop, you could spend 20 hours on this and get all of them. You can spend 20 hours on this and get none of them. The RNG factor here is extremely, extremely large. And Yoshi P himself did say he doesn't necessarily like these kind of grinds, but that they are going to be adding them in the game in the form of this Zodiac weapon, apparently. And that it's really not for everyone. That's why there's alternate paths to get weapons, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Another thing is not just the difficulty, but the reason these aren't difficult is because they're super low level areas, and by comparison, this doesn't make much sense. These weapons are supposed to be legendary weapons of the Zodiac Braves. These are supposed to be artifacts that represent the heroes that they're modeled after. Yet we're going around doing anywhere from level 5 to 45 fates. And it just doesn't seem fitting of an environment to get this mega ultra awesome crazy weapon that, by the way, when you do this step and get all 12 Atmas, you actually don't get any bonus stats. This is literally just to qualify for doing the rest of the quest. This is just the first step that absolutely does not upgrade your weapon at all. And the real grind begins after this, although the real grind is a little bit more bearable for various reasons. So I do see that those are some problems with it. It's very, very, very low drop rates. People have spent hours upon hours upon hours on these things and seen so few, if any, of these Atmas. And additionally, it's content that people aren't particularly fond of anymore. Fates are there for leveling if you need them. If you want to form small groups to clear fates, they are still very effective. And people are making use of that. People with lower level jobs are getting on those lower level jobs and be like, hey, I don't need a relic, I don't need an Atma, but I will just go to these zones and farm these fates just to get levels because there's so many people doing them. And that's looking at the glass half full. Glass half empty is most of the people doing them are just getting extremely frustrated, extremely angry. I recommend not spending a lot of time on this. Spend a couple hours a day and then work on other things. Get your retainer ventures out of the way. Go do your dailies. Go work on treasure hunts if you're not doing those. Those are apparently giving better rewards now. I don't know about that. Farm your soldiery. Get some mythology. Gear out your other things. Get some of that gear you couldn't get from turns 1 through 5. That'll be more along the lines of something you'll do in a week or so when it fully opens up to the duty finder. But set other goals for yourself and spread out your Atma farming. Don't try and do it all in one sitting unless you are a masochist like me. Anyway, but those are my opinions, and that's basically my quote-unquote guide for the Atma section of the quest line. After you do that, like I said, you don't get any upgrades. Your weapon loses its glow, and it's a few different colors around the outside. And then you can start the real part of the quest that will actually start to upgrade it. You have to buy 9 books. The next part of the quest will send you to an NPC that sells 9 books. Each one of those books gives it a stat increase. For the example, like a bow, there's a few for dex, a few for vitality, a few for skill speed, and a few for accuracy. You pick which stat you want to start upgrading, and you pay him 1,500 mythology tomestones in order to work on that book. The book itself requires you kill 100 enemies, kill 3 fates, do 3 leaves, and do 3 dungeons. Now, those could be the variance on the levels of those fates and those leaves and those dungeons is quite high. I had to do Tamtara for one of mine. The level 15 dungeon, very low, but then I also had to do the Lost City of Amdapor, which is, the newest, supposedly most difficult dungeon in the game. 4-man dungeon, I should say. So, but it's something that your progress, if you work on it, you will get progress towards it. There's pretty much no ifs, ands, or buts. You complete a fate, you get the credit for it. Also, make sure you have your Relic Atma equipped. Just like you needed the Relic Zenith equipped, you need your Relic Atma equipped when you're working on your Animus weapon. But you still need to farm 13,500 mythology, which is 270 dungeons if my math doesn't suck, which it probably does. So it's still a long grind. I think that even if you were doing 8-minute runs of Brayflock's hard mode, just the first 2 bosses, that would still take you like 36 hours to do if you wanted to do it straight. On top of that, you'd have to stop and buy books and complete the books. So it would definitely take longer than that. But my advice, don't spend all your time working on this. Try and enjoy some of the other content that's in the game, something that especially that you may have missed. I understand it's something that you can do solo. It's something that you can easily accomplish on your own, and you don't need to worry about other people affecting your progress, but you're going to go insane if you try and do this all in one sitting. So, and then for the second part of the quest, it's much more bearable, and you can work on it much more steadily. You don't need to rush because you could probably get a Leviathan weapon, or you could even start working towards your weathered weapon if you're planning on beating turn 7 anytime soon. And you would generally have a better weapon under most scenarios for a larger portion of your gaming experience. But for those of you out there that are doing it and don't mind it like me, don't mind it, not like it, don't mind it. Power to you. You know, good luck out there getting all 12 of them, because it can take a pretty long time, or you can get really, really lucky. But anyway, guys, I'm not going to do my whole regular outro for this because it wasn't really a guide. It was more an opinion and a rant. You know, a lot of people have been asking me for this. So I pay attention to the comments. I do read Twitter comments. I do read video comments and Facebook comments, people asking questions. And here's my video to you guys. So I hope that it cleared a few things up, you know, what you can do, what you can't do, my opinions on the whole thing. And good luck to any of you out there who are going to be progressing with your Atma weapons. I myself am on almost on my 3rd book for my Animus, so I should have the fully upgraded Animus item level 100 weapon within the following week or 2. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys. If you're looking for a distraction, by the way, and you don't have like Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything, come check out my stream. I like to stream this kind of thing, so that way we can endure it together. You know, I can distract you from what you're doing and give you just a general laugh here and there. So hopefully I'll see you on the live stream. Link for that is in the description below, and if not, well, good luck to you. And until next time, take care.